Hey guys, what's going on? Ken Rayder here for Rayder Sports. How are we doing tonight? So I know it's been a while, but unfortunately I broke my wrist, so I've been dealing with a couple doctor's appointments, along with I just got back to work and being in a bit of pain. A lot. And before you guys ask, no, I did not punch a wall when Columbus brought out the brooms on the Lightning. I dropped about 100 pounds of fries while at work, and it landed square on my wrist, having a fracture right below the joint. So I have like almost no rotation in my arm at all. But luckily, I didn't need like a plaster cast or anything because it's such a small fracture. They said it should heal in about 2 to 4 weeks. But speaking of the Lightning, after we were embarrassingly swept, not disappointingly, but embarrassingly swept, I saw that Jeff Viniks, the owner of the Tampa Bay Lightning, a great owner, one of the best in American sports, if not the best, some people claim, he sent out kind of an apology letter, I guess, to the, what do you call them, season ticket holders. I don't know, I've never been a season ticket holder to anything in my life. So, when I heard about this, I had to go and do some digging, and I finally found a letter, and so I'm going to read some of the notes that I took here on it, and it begins to state the obvious. The 2018-2019 season did not end as well as we hoped. No shit. It would. I am the first to admit our collective disappointment at losing in 4 games. Let's call it what it is. Collective disappointment. We're completely and totally frickin' embarrassed that we were swept in the first round of the 2019 Stanley Cup playoffs to the Blue Jackets, who have never won a series before this. Nobody is more disappointed than our players, our hockey operations department, inclusive of GM Julien Brébois, I don't know how to say it, I'm not French, Coach John Cooper, our coaches and staff, and me too. Speaking of Jeff Viniks, he goes on to say that we still remain bullish on the future. Bullish meaning stubborn. And the extremely talented core of players that Julien and Steve Yzerman before him have assembled, we don't want to overreact. We fully expect to have one of the best teams entering 2019 and the 2020 season, and we will once again be recognized as a contender for the Stanley Cup. We better. The talent is there. And then the next one goes on, throwing, heart emojis at Steve Yzerman, who's moving on to Detroit. And he goes on to say, I believe we will win the Stanley Cup with Julien as our GM and John Cooper as our head coach. Now, this is kind of where I have a problem. I don't really have a problem with anything Viniks says in this entire letter here. I really don't. Because the talent is there. The organization has been great. We got a great owner, great GMs, from Yzerman and now Julien Brébois. We have the talent to do it. And I have no problem with the letter, I feel like it's a weak move, but nothing he actually says in the letter I have a problem with. The problem I have is the fact that we have to have this letter come to the Lightning fans because we had a 62-win season. We had Kucherov having the best season pretty much ever. We had Steven Stamkos having a career year. And I don't want to point fingers. I don't want to say that this is a management problem, because it's not. It is not a managerial problem. most places that have issues, shit rolls downhill. So, usually it's something within the ownership or the general manager. This franchise was just let down by the players and by the coaches. I don't want to hear Jeff Viniks apologizing for everybody. What I want to hear is, I want to hear Steven Stamkos come out and say, I'm sorry for disappearing. Every time the spotlight gets brighter, I get smaller. I want to hear Andrei Vasilevsky. I want him to say, I'm going to work on blocking pucks on the blocker side. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to work on my craft. Because that's where the Blue Jackets were scoring their goals. We're on the blocker side. And he should spend the entire offseason working on nothing but getting better at blocking the blocker side. The high blocker side. I want to hear Nikita Kucherov apologize for being a head case in Game 2. Having 3 penalties, an egregious boarding call, which made us lose his presence in Game 3. Which ultimately kind of changed the series, when if we would have won Game 3, this isn't much of an issue. Even if we lose the series, at least we didn't get swept. There's nothing more embarrassing than having the greatest season and getting swept out. It is completely embarrassing. And that's what frustrates me. But you know what? And it's not like this is any guarantee. We got an Eastern Conference that is only getting better. You have the Penguins, who this is as bad as it gets for Pittsburgh. They'll bounce back. They have the great organization. We all know Pittsburgh and Crosby and Malkin and all of them. They'll be back. We still have the Bruins. The Maple Leafs are getting better. You have, I think the only team who was in the playoffs who are coming down is the Washington Capitals. The Islanders are still going to be good. The Maple Leafs are going to be good and a threat for a long time. You have the Bruins. You have the Carolina Hurricanes, who are right now in the Eastern Conference Finals. Don't ask me how that happened. But it's not getting... The competition is going to shrink a little bit, because these teams who are already good are going to get better. But the talent level for the Lightning is there. The talent level should be able to win games next year, get to the playoffs. I just want to see this team get a different philosophy. Quit becoming head cases. Quit trying to win, 5-2, and maybe win more games 3-2. Quit winning 5-4. Maybe win 3-2. 2-1. Play better defense. Protect the goaltender. Get less shots on goal. Eat up some of the time. Quit trying to outscore everybody and play defense. Get tougher. Get mentally tougher. Get physically tougher. Do what you have to do to win in the playoffs when the game slows down, because that's what happened. The Blue Jackets went high blocker side on Vasilevsky and took the fight straight to the Tampa Bay Lightning, whipped them on the forecheck, beat them. Tampa came in for a hockey game. Columbus came into a fight. That's why Columbus swept out the Lightning. But until next summer, I'm going to end this with the way Jeff Viniks ended his letter by saying, "Go Bolts."